Okay, folks, we'll go ahead and get started. Go ahead and get started, like we said. We're only got 20 people signed up to speak. Everybody just wants to speak, will come up here and tell us what they want to about the ordinance. We got Richie's, you gonna read it?
Yeah.
Richie's got an opening statement, and Steven Simmons here is gonna take care of the time clock and call out the people that are coming up to speak. So here you go.
Good evening. It's great to see everyone out. This public hearing is being held by the Greenbrier County Commission in accordance with West Virginia Code 8A-7-5 regarding the proposed updated zoning ordinance for Greenbrier County. On January 22nd, 2026, the Greenbrier County Planning Commission formally transmitted to this commission its recommendation that we adopt the updated zoning study and report along with the proposed zoning ordinance. In that correspondence, Planning Commission President Dan Edwards stated following completion of the public input process, including a public hearing held January 21st, 2026, the Planning Commission voted to recommend adoption of the study on and report on zoning and the updated zoning ordinance, including minor changes adopted during their public hearing in response to the comments received. The Planning Commission's recommendation represents the culmination of a multi-year effort that included development of the public participation plan, study of land within the county's jurisdiction, review of the 2025 comprehensive plan, and evaluation of existing development conditions and future growth needs. Under West Virginia Code 8A-7-4, prior to enactment of a zoning ordinance, the governing body and planning commission must complete a study of the land and prepare a report on that zoning. That study must evaluate existing conditions, consider the character of buildings and land use, determine desirable land uses consistent with the comprehensive plan, and receive public input. No zoning ordinance may be enacted without that study and report. The study and report on zoning prepared for Greenbrier County outlines several important findings. Less than 10% of the county's land mass is currently zoned. The existing ordinance dates back to 1978 and contains outdated definitions and concepts. The comprehensive plan identifies the need to protect natural resources, preserve agricultural land, promote coordinated development, address housing demand, and reduce incompatible spot use and strip development. And that growth should be directed to areas with available infrastructure such as public water, sewer, while maintaining the rural character of the county. The proposed ordinance is written to promote public health, safety, and welfare, preserve historic landmarks and agricultural lands, lessen congestion, protect flood-prone areas, encourage appropriate development patterns, and ensure orderly land development consistent with statutory authority. Tonight, and again tomorrow morning, we are here to receive your input. It is important to clarify this process. By law, the County Commission was required to present the ordinance as it was transmitted to us by the Planning Commission. We do not have the authority to substantially rewrite or alter the ordinance prior to these required public hearings. Therefore, what is put before the public tonight is the ordinance as it is recommended by the Planning Commission. However, I want to be very clear. Several changes will be made following the conclusion of these public hearings. The Commission is carefully reviewing the proposed ordinance and has identified areas where revision may be appropriate. We expect additional modifications based on the public comment we receive here tonight and tomorrow. After incorporating those revisions, the County Commission will schedule and hold another public hearing on the amended version of the ordinance before any adoption occurs. No final action will be taken until the Commission has had adequate time to review, deliberate, and make necessary changes consistent with the law and the public interest. This process is not about rushing an ordinance into place. It is about following statutory requirements while ensuring that the final product reflects the values, needs, and concerns of Greenbrier County citizens. We are committed to protecting private property rights, preserving rural character, encouraging responsible growth, ensuring clarity and fairness in regulation, and complying fully with West Virginia law. Your participation matters. This hearing is an opportunity for constructive input. We ask that speakers stay respectful and focus comments on the ordinance provisions themselves so they can be meaningfully considered. We appreciate the Planning Commission's work in preparing the study and report on zoning and the proposed ordinance. We now look forward to hearing from the public before making revisions and moving forward in accordance with the law. If you do not wish to speak at the 2 public hearings, written comments will be accepted in the commission office until 4 p.m. tomorrow. We will now open. Oh, there we go. We will now open the public hearing. Again, remaining respectful and focusing your comments on the ordinance provisions. Each speaker will have 3 minutes for their comments, and Stephen will keep a timer and give you approximately 20-second warning when your time is about to expire. Thank you.
Kevin, you're up.
Great. What a chicken out. No way. Folks are completely against this thing. I bought a piece of property out here on Hoffman. 3 times we've redone the deed. As of right now, it's in agriculture. Just on the deed. I have a letter here saying we can straighten it out. But I've got to pay another $50 for a petition. The zone, whoever else. There needs to be some work on the zones. Is there a fine line anywhere that separates stuff out there? Open space? Forced recreation? That you all know? I'd like to know. It's just some of the zoning stuff in here. I had to drag a trailer out of it. Told I couldn't really be replaced. You go to reading in this new one, you can't be. I'd trash this whole thing. That's all I got to say.
Ryan McClung. Ryan McClung.
No comment. Nothing bad.
Oh, okay. Kristen McClung. Debbie Bowman.
That's me. Hi, I'm Debbie Bowman, and thank you for having this meeting. We appreciate everybody that's here. And my question is, in terms of like the particulars of each land use that is incorporated into the zoning process, where I live, all the area around me and most of the area is forest rec. No, I'm sorry, open air conservation. But then there's one little piece right here. This right here, that's forest rec. And it really doesn't make any sense as to why all of this is open air conservation. And then you go down my road and it's forest rec. I mean, what is the rationale to make those two? I mean, they're, you know, houses side by side. What's the difference? And if I'm not mistaken, I think most of this back here, where part of it is forest rec, is owned by the same farm. So his property, I think, might have 2 different designations. Part of it being forest rec and part of it being open air conservation. So that's my concern with that as to why, you know, why was it done like that, and what was the rationale to have it done that way?
Does that cause a problem?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, what is the difference, and why would piece of this little tiny piece here be different than this? I mean, yeah, I think there's differences in terms of like what you can build, how big the structure can be, and that type of thing. But why? I mean, exactly. Because I think, you know, like one of them, the minimum space for a new build house is 2 acres. The other one says a new build house can only be, you know, you have to have at least 3/4 of an acre. You know, so it's like, okay, so why is that? Seems like it should be all open air conservation and not, you know, not that one little piece just hanging out there. And that's all.
All right. Thank you, Debbie.
Mhm.
We'll check in. It was done. long ago.
Todd Longenecker.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us for us this evening. We appreciate you holding this meeting. My the first section of this new ordinance that I want to address is yard requirements. And there's language in this ordinance, that section 401.05. There's language in this section that discusses what kind of fireplace I can have in my yard. Now, it gives dimensions, it gives height, it gives the width of such of a outdoor grilling area and what it should be. My question is, for that section, what if we already have something built in stone and concrete that is outside of these specifications? Are we going to be fined if this ordinance passes? Will this be grandfathered in? Is this just for new construction? Now, that was my first thing I wanted you guys to take a look at. I'm very confident. I know I'm not speaking for everybody, but being in a red county, I'm probably speaking for most people here when I say we are confident in you guys to promote ordinances that deregulate us, not put more regulations upon us. And that's the whole idea of being a red county and ensuring the freedom thereof. I spoke at a planning commission meeting down in Lewisburg last month when you guys had it. And I was concerned that this draft ordinance that came out of I don't know, maybe from some political science major up at WVU that doesn't live down here, it had some language about allowing or relaxing the standoff distance for some businesses. Specifically, it could encourage exotic dance halls and exotic dance businesses to actually be developed or created much closer to what the current standard is. I asked that you guys take a look at that. Mr. Holliday has my request from the last time we talked. And I hope that standoff distance will be corrected in this ordinance as I was ensured it would be back during that. And finally, I'm looking at section 402.27. It deals with reception or event facilities outside. And I guess that would probably also mean to include things such as agro-tourism type events or hay rides or pumpkin patch fields and things like that. It says in that language, if you look at that section 402.27, that any clients parked on your property have to maintain a standoff distance of 150 feet from your property line. That's crazy, guys. How many businesses will that impact here in Greenbrier County if a client comes onto a home-based business and parks 145 feet away from the neighbors? All right, or look, I should be able to park my clients on my property wherever I want, provided I'm not infringing upon my neighbor's property. So I would ask you guys to take a look at that as well. And again, try to uphold our freedom and let's deregulate. Let's not look, this came from Morgantown. I respect you guys had to get your draft from somewhere, but we're not Morgantown. We don't want to live like they do up in Mon County. So let's keep us red, let's keep us free, and thank you all for what you're doing.
Tasso.
Everybody.
My name's Tassos Stavrakis. My wife and I have 300 acres of farm, a couple of miles up the road. Got horses, goats, and chickens. There aren't any horses mentioned anywhere in this, so I don't know if I can give lessons. I know we had trouble building our arena for our horse farm. We have a lot of concerns, special, serious, specific concerns about this zoning. I have a prior commitment tonight, so I'm gonna hope to come back tomorrow with a lot of these specifics. But in the meantime, I just want you to know that we do have a lot of concerns about this. The old zoning gave us a lot of trouble. We also have for 8 years, we've had the West Virginia Renaissance Festival. Anybody knows what that is?
Yeah.
And so the old zoning has given us a lot of trouble with that and made our business much harder, made our life much harder. And so I don't see a lot of respite in the new zoning. There are some, but it's still kind of confusing. So I'd like to go over a lot of that. It's been very difficult, and I'm just gonna tell you a quick story before I leave. And that is, anybody else that's had a farm, have anybody else had a drone come over your farm? Anybody else have the inspector come out and take a couple of hours to go through each building to see what's in there? We did. That didn't seem right. So I didn't like that. I hope that doesn't happen again. So let's hope we can fix all this. Thank you.
Adrian Williams, say that right? There we go.
Good evening. I'm the proud owner of a farm that has been family owned and operated for over 200 years. And it is currently, according to map, residential. If you were looking at section 700 and the changes that are made in this new zoning ordinances, this has removed any kind of outbuildings allowed for residential properties. So you cannot have a detached garage, you cannot have any accessory structures. You are not permitted to grow fruits, vegetables, crops, livestock or poultry or agriculture. And there is specific language in the end of the document that states that if it is not specifically stated in that list of what is permitted for residential properties, that it's not allowed. And even if it is listed in that table at the end of the document, what's in the text itself is what is going to be followed.
If I may interrupt you real quick, you said which section again?
I'm speaking about 800. So residential districts and the list of the permitted uses within that area.
I think she's in the old ordinance.
I'm talking about that's in the old ordinance and it's no
Yes.
longer
Okay.
in the new ordinance. It's gone. The only thing that's permitted is residential facilities and then a couple of additional structures. So all that, anything associated with the agriculture, that language has been removed from the text. And it's only kind of like one little statement at the end of the table, but it specifically says in the document that anything that there's a discrepancy between the table and text, you follow the text. So that by default says it's not permitted. Okay, so that is language that's already in there. So other details that I have noticed. What is then the classification for new land uses? So that was one of the opportunities that says like this document is supposed to be providing an opportunity for us to address, hey, there's a change in the land usage. And it has a very vague description of that and saying that classification of any new or unlisted land use may be delegated by the Planning Commission to the code official to determine if the use can be reasonably interpreted to fit into a similar use category described in this code. So that is again if possible, can we get more solid understanding or description here for the process of how we can actually reasonably get new land uses changed?
What
Right.
section was that?
300, I believe.
In the new ordinance?
And the old, yeah, and the new ordinance.
300.
So again, I know there's my neighbors around me and are also farmers as well, and so this would also impact their business properties. As in the new zoning, they are active farm properties that would then fall within residential lines. Okay, that's all I had for today. Thank you.
Thank you. Alinda Perrine?
Good evening, and thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. My points are really about general statements with regard to the documents. And I have reviewed the documents, but a couple points that I want to make is, and there is a nationwide deregulation effort in this country in order to increase housing affordability. In fact, there's a statistic from the National Association of Realtors that says that 25% of all buyers in the United States needed ADUs, accessory dwelling units, okay? Much of our regulation right now prohibits people from putting a second unit, whether it's a mother-in-law suite or another building on their property. 25% of all buyers in the United States needed an accessory dwelling unit, whether it was for a mother-in-law, an aging parent, a child that was still at home, a college student. So I would encourage you to consider that. The second thing is that there is a concern from people within our county. Realtors are the people who talk to people who are trying to buy or sell or move into a community. Right now, our county has a reputation that we are so restrictive that there are actually landowners who want to go into progressive communities like White Sulphur Springs to actually get out from underneath some of the problems that our county is imposing. So they're wanting to rezone their property and actually move into the town districts. So I would encourage you to consider, you know, that our county wants to be more progressive, not less progressive. So I'm very much speaking on a tone of deregulation. Another statistic that I think is important to know, and again, these are statistics from the National Association of Realtors, 25% of all of our building costs are affected by our local regulation. If that's costing people 25% more of what their building costs are, we are actually creating a hardship in this county. The other thing is our subdivision regulations in this county. They've been addressed and addressed and addressed. They are very prohibitive to our small contractors and our smaller developments. A 4-parcel separation within a tract of land at this particular time is really outdated. We need to look at that. There are new systems in septics and all kinds of ways that people could develop subdivisions, increase affordability of housing. And I think the next thing is, and I think Mr. Longenacre pointed this out very well. You know, I think that people in this county have stood for freedom of what they do with their property. And I think the current plan that has been addressed by WVU is very restrictive to what our common philosophy here is, that people should be allowed to do with their land what they are paying taxes for. I've also brought along a article that I'll share with you that came from homes.com that talks about governors in certain states are already trying to override local restrictions. And I think that's important because we're already seeing that that's happening other places. So we don't want that to happen in our communities, and I think that's a progressive step. But I think we need to be aware of those types of issues. If we become so restrictive, will our citizens ask our state to override these types of issues? So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Libby Payne?
Hi, I'm Libby Payne. I'm here tonight. I'm not a public speaker. I don't know all the laws, but what I do know is that I moved here when my dad passed away to help take care of my mom about 5 years ago. And I moved into a camper because I was told I could on my own property. And ever since, it's been a problem. I don't know why I offend people because I live in a camper. I keep it neat. I keep it clean. I've done a good job with trying to contribute to my community. I pay my taxes. I just don't see what the problem is. I have asked. Nobody seems to tell me other than they just don't like the way it looks. Well, then don't look. Because I'm not doing good. That's just the way I feel. I pay my taxes just like you do. It's my property. Please leave me alone. Let me sleep at night. Let me be here to help my family. That's what I come here for. West Virginia is supposed to be known for good people. That's not good people action. Trying to run people out of the only thing they can afford. I don't understand that. That's all I got to say.
Faye Dougford?
No comment at this time.
Okay. Barbara Tuckwiller?
I'd like to address the agritourism section. It seems to say, a little background, I live at Hop Knob Cider. We don't own the business, but we own the property in the facility. And the way this agritourism section is written, it seems to me that Hop Knob would no longer be able to offer their restaurant and food, which attracts a lot of people out there. It is an excellent business. My husband and I have no complaints about people coming and going out there. In fact, it makes me feel safe because it's irregular, which keeps down mischief. So I hope that that is rewritten in some way to permit this business to continue like it is. I love walking out my back door and saying, Frank, we're going up to Hop Knob for dinner tonight.
John Payne?
First off, I'd like to thank y'all for what you do. Without permission, we look bad a lot. Speak into the mic, please. First of all, without permission and everything, y'all keep what keeps everything regulated, of course. Okay. I'm not a public speaker. I'm a common man. I graduated high school. I went to work. I worked for everything I've got. And ever since I've made my permanent residence here in Greenbrier County, which I'm out on Route 60, just below Miller Mountain Road, I've got nothing but grief over having my travel trailers and my utility trailers parked there and have family at times come and spend the night. I mean, I don't see what that's hurting. I'm not doing nothing to nobody. And my understanding, I'm gonna just throw a number out, less than 5 people in the county that complains about it. Why is their rights any better than mine? I mean, I worked hard for what I have. And I still pay taxes on everything. I keep everything tagged, taxes. I go by what the ordinance has told me to do. They said 180 days, make sure the wheels turn. Hey, I do. I mean, it's tough, yes. One of them we do have underpinning on. I can get it off in less than an hour. And but if need be, I actually had one of the building inspectors come out and ask me, said, if the water starts to come up, can you get this moved in a certain amount of time? I'll do everything I can to, sure, because that's our property. I don't want to see it get washed over or anything. But, and like there again, it's hooked up to septic for when someone does stay in it. It's everything's by regulation. And but yet a few nosy people that want to cause problems because they're not happy with their own life run down here and cause you guys problems, which in return causes me problems. And I hate that for y'all. I apologize on their behalf for being the way they are. I mean, I'm a godly man. This is killing me getting up here because I'm just not a complainer. But I've took it all in so long that it's built up. And I just don't think it's right. What's the difference in me having a camper parked there versus having a utility trailer there? Or solar panels that look like crap? I mean, you know, I don't complain about that stuff. That's theirs. It's your property, you do what you want. And I think that's the way it should be for everyone. I mean, yes, you have to have ordinances, but we're in a freedom country. Let us have freedom on our own property that we pay taxes for. We still pay every year. I mean, I don't know what else to say other than I do appreciate y'all, and I hope y'all will lean to our feelings, our support for the county. Don't make us leave. When I was a little boy, my grandmother owned a service station, and I always said, one day I'll retire on that property. And by God's will, I did. Flood came in 2016. It didn't wash nothing off. God protected it. You know, we just keep striving. I want to better everything. And honestly, if it's a personal problem with me that they have, or one of my family members, grow up and come and talk to me. Don't talk job all the street. And that's basically all I got to say. And once again, I do apologize for everything you've been put through.
Noah Harrison.
Pass on right now.
Steve Schaefer.
Well, I don't have much to say about the zoning. I agree with the first guy, it should be trashed. And same way with the, years ago, whenever y'all zoned this county and zoned the trailers and stuff out of, single-wise out of Greenbrier County. All you done was zone the young people out of Greenbrier County. That's all young people can do. The other thing is, on this zoning thing, I think it should be put up the courthouse. Anybody that owns property, when they go pay their property tax, they can check if they want it or they don't want it. And you'll get 100% participation from the landowners. And that's all I can say.
Robert Biddish.
Biddish, Bidish.
Thanks again for the opportunity. I'm right there with Kevin, the last guy, this
should be thrown in the trash. It's we moved from Maryland to come here to get away from the regulations and everything that Maryland had. It was a horrible, horrible place. They were about ready to tax the rain. And I'm not kidding. You can look it up. They had passed in some counties that never got to ours. But, and don't get any ideas on taxing the rain. But, yeah, we moved here because it was a pretty red state, conservative. I looked up on Google, you know, the Republican Party principles. You know, they're centered on, and according to Google, it's centered on American conservative, emphasizing limited government intervention, free market capitalism, and a strong national defense and some other stuff. Some key pillars are lower taxes, reduced regulations, individual liberty, and protection of constitutional rights. You know, my wife and I bought a 100-acre farm. We've got a dog boarding and doggy daycare business on the farm besides doing farm work with animals and different things like that. This set of zoning changes and everything could affect that down the road. And, you know, I'm concerned about the fact that they're talking about, home businesses, like I can only have one employee. So, you know, is that something Greenbrier doesn't need more employers? Because I would think you would want more and more jobs. And having a farm, if I can only have one employee, that would be a little bit tough, you know, from a home business aspect on as far as that goes. That farm's been a farm since the late 1700s. And to think that they can change that to what it would be as a forest recreation. And, you know, but again, all the things everybody else talked about with that. Now, having 100 acres, if I want to put a camper up on the top part of my pasture or something up by the woods to take my wife out and camp overnight, a night or two, that's ridiculous that I can't do that. And it's also ridiculous that I have to put that camper inside a building when I'm 1,000 feet back from the road. So I've got to put that inside a building when it's not being used. My background is in security. I've done that for 35 years. The whole concept of, I don't know if anybody looked at the outside lighting, but they don't want you to project any light off of your property. So that means light shines straight down. From a security aspect, that's horrible. You want light. You want as much light on your property as you can get because that deters crime. People don't want to be seen. You can ask Nancy Guthrie because her community is one of those no light areas. You know, it's just a really bad idea. Another thing that was in there is flags and under the sign section. So I can't have a flag that's over 16 square feet. That's, you know, that would limit me to a 3x5 American flag. So you tell me I can't get a 4x6 American flag, you know, that would put me out of that, or even bigger. Signs, if I want to have a sign in my yard or sign in my, on my property, I have to go get a permit to get a sign above 2 square feet. That's a 2-foot long sign that's 1 foot tall. If I set that back, you know, 30 feet off of the front of my property, nobody can even read it, and you're only gonna fit 2 words on it anyway. I got a couple words. But you know, that's something that nobody should have a business telling me what sign I can put on a 100-acre property.
Amen.
You know, I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I hope you take all of these zoning things and just throw it in the can. You don't want to go to Maryland.
This statements with.
All right, last person, I can't read your name. Who signed up? And hasn't talked yet. What's your name? That's it. Close enough.
Howdy, y'all.
Hey.
I'm all nervous. Yeah, what I'm wondering is, we're passing all these laws here locally, but then if you look at, talking about zoning, if you look at what I only looked into recently about all these data centers, doesn't that strip the counties of what they can and cannot do against that? As far as I'm reading it, it's that. So it's kind of picking and choosing what we're gonna enforce, what we think is our freedom. You got people going to Charleston to tell us what to do, but we don't want it. And I get 100% property rights, right? But that ends if you're affecting someone else negatively, right? Wouldn't that be a simple way? We could say that, like if I have a farm and I do something and I mismanage it and I pollute the water, and then it goes downstream. If I don't feel good about that, I mean, I can get in trouble for that, but I wouldn't want to do that. But say a data center comes in here and they want to put it somewhere, they don't have to tell you, they deregulate the pollution. They don't have to tell you how much water it is. What if they start sucking people's wells dry, or the Greenbrier River, or a little creek here and there? So what I'm wondering is how much enforcement, if it's about liberty and people's rights, private property rights, it gets, I know it's tough, but if you're willing to have a neighbor, didn't seem like she was breaking any of the old zoning laws. And then she had to have a meeting. She come down here and tried to talk to y'all, whatever's on the zoning meeting. She didn't ask me to say this, but she come out to her place and honestly, we looked through it. It didn't look like she was breaking any of the zoning laws. She wasn't trying to do anything big. She was just trying to have little get-togethers on a farm. And then y'all come out, whoever it is, 3 people come out an hour before her meeting. She's gone. They come out there, walk around her place, and then she comes back and it seems like they voted on it before she ever got in there to have a talk. So what I want to know is, are you going to have that kind of energy about telling people what to do when a corporation comes in and wants to walk all over everybody? Because it seems like between the state, between our nation, you just have corporations. I mean, it's corporations, that's who owns all this shit. So we got big problems. We got big problems. It doesn't take that much looking to figure out, it's all getting, it's all becoming monopolized. I mean, we got big problems. So us wanting to talk about this, I think this is the greatest thing we could have done, is get together and figure out the page instead of us quarreling here. What about big problems? What if a corporation comes in and wants to do all that stuff? If you're the zoning commission, county commission, and you got other county commissions that are getting railroaded over, something like that, why not group up? Why not group up for the people? See what I'm saying? I mean, all this money, all these taxes, all these rules, it ain't worth anything if you don't have clean water, clean air. It's not worth anything. There's no amount of money that's worth any of that. Just say, keep it simple. I think y'all have good hearts. I think it's a wonderful place to live. I mean, it's wonderful. I know you are good people, but I just ask you to think about that. Keep it simple. And are you going to keep that same energy about these zoning laws? How enforced when you're picking on a lady who's not doing anything wrong, in my opinion? She wasn't bothering anyone. You can have that same energy when a corporation comes in and starts drawing up everybody's well water or whatever the case. When they pollute it, if they do, you gonna stand up to that? Or are you just gonna pick on people? Little old ladies that can't do anything about it. We're getting railroaded all the time.
Thank you.
Someone have a question?
Yeah, I didn't send the sheet, I apologize. I'd like to ask one question if I may.
Don't want to start a lot of that, Alan.
All I want to do is ask one question.
Go ahead. We've been working with Alan on different properties, so.
My name's Alan O'Brien. Won't be like everybody else. The only question I have, I'm not talking about the new ordinance. I'm talking about the 1978 version, I think is what's in effect now. I would like for the county to tell everyone in the report, how many counties has this regulation in the state of West Virginia as of today? Not the new, the old. I think you're gonna find 5 or 6 counties only
in the entire state that has this regulation. The old one, not the new one. I appreciate it. I apologize for not signing the thing, but I think that was an important question.
Thank you, Alan. So we will meet again here tomorrow at 11 a.m. To continue this discussion. Again, thanks to everybody for coming out. And here's President Rose.
I'll let Woody Hannah go first. What do you want to say something?
I'd just like to thank every one of you for coming out this evening. We were here to listen. You probably noticed we were all taking notes. I appreciate you giving up your evening to come out and share your thoughts and ideas and concerns. And if you want to come back tomorrow and if you ran out of time, you're welcome to come back tomorrow and speak again, or if anybody you know wants to come, encourage them to come and share with us. We do want to hear from you.
As Woody said, we appreciate you guys coming tonight. We'll be back here at 11 o'clock tomorrow. We got a 10 o'clock meeting at the courthouse. And then we'll be back here at 11, and anybody like to speak again, come in and sign up. We'll be glad to listen to you. The commission has went over this proposed thing, and a lot of the stuff, I'll just say that a lot of the stuff that we've heard tonight, we got the same problems with, or the same questions with. So there's gonna be some changes made that we get three very conservative people here, all three of us own property, all three of us own farms. So we have that tender spot for not over-regulating. So anyhow, just wanted to make that comment to everybody. I'll hang around for a little bit. These guys may or may not. If anybody's just got a question, or if you want to look at the maps and ask a question about the map, if we can help you, we will. Thank y'all for coming.